So welcome to yoga today. I'm Emily. It's great to see you. And we're practicing from home. So I don't assume you have yoga props, but I would recommend you grab just a couple of things. Just a set of towels. So you can get like a bath towel or a couple of those, and then more like a hand towel, and we'll use those as the practice goes on. So if you want to grab both of those, I will meet you back on your mat. And I'll show you how we'll get started in our first pose. So as with any yoga practice or physical activity, you know yourself best. And so please take care of yourself. And if anything we're doing doesn't work for you, then please pause, come out of the pose, take a rest, or do another pose that does feel good on your body. Okay, so we're going to lie down on our yoga mat. And then bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and walk your feet as wide out to the edges of your mat as you can, and let your knees fall in to rest against one another. Take your arms straight up to the ceiling, and then wrap around. Give yourself a big hug. Take a full breath. And exhale, just soften here. So we're going to take a few moments just resting here. And all you need to do is be here and breathe. So you might just follow the natural path of your inhales and exhales for several cycles of breath. It's kind of radical to think of not doing or being active right now. But see if you can just be in the pose. Watch your breath naturally happen. And then when you're ready, reach your arms back up, cross them the other way, and then give yourself another little hug here. Take a big breath. See if you can feel the back body expand with your breath. And then exhale again, soften into your pose. And this time I'd like you to sense into your feet, just feel them on the ground. And sense into your pelvis, feel it resting on the ground. And then with your mind, see if you can travel your attention up your spine, noticing that some parts of your spine are on the floor, some are above the floor. It's the natural curves of your spine. And then lastly, I'd just like to invite you to sense the back of your skull resting on the floor. And see if you can take a couple more breaths here before we get moving, just feeling the full weight of your body supported by the floor, supported by your breath. And then when you're ready, let's take the arms back up to the ceiling and walk your feet in about hips distance apart. You're going to keep the arms straight up to the ceiling and then just feel the back of your ribs on the floor. And we're going to start to engage the upper abdominals just a little bit. See if you can actively press the back of your ribs into the floor. And then start to reach your arms overhead behind you so they're hovering several inches above the floor. And if you're like me, your ribs want to come too. See if you can keep the backs of the ribs pressing into the floor. Keep reaching long through your arms, and most importantly, keep breathing here. Then we're going to take the arms up on an inhale and place them back down by your sides. Right now, I'd like to have you place a hand underneath your spine so you feel there's a little curve in your lower back, and then a hand on your rib cage, just inviting your ribs to soften down. And then with that awareness, we're going to take the arms back up to the ceiling and then reach them overhead again. See if you can keep some of the curves in your low back And a little bit of the front ribs drawing down. Reach your right heel forward so your straight right leg is hovering above the floor, several inches above the floor. The lower you go, the more challenging it'll be, so you can take it higher or lower. Keep breathing here as you reach from the fingertips to your elongated leg, and see if you can keep the backs of your ribs pressing down with the natural curve of your low back. You might start to feel a little bit of warmth in the body. That's good. We'll take one more breath here, and then bend your right leg, place it on the floor. Right away, let's extend the left leg, hovering over the floor. And you choose how low you want to go. We're finding length from fingertips to the left heel. And we're finding some support using the front of the ribs, hugging toward the backs of the ribs. We feel a little curve still in the lower back. And notice now as you stay here for a little longer, if there's any tension in your neck or shoulders, see if you can soften in the neck and shoulders, and keep the work in the upper abdominals as you press the backs of the ribs down. And then let's bend both knees, feet to the floor, reach your arms up, and then hug your knees in. We're going to keep holding on to the front of the right shin, stretch your left leg long on the mat. And then grab behind your lifted leg, extend your leg up toward the ceiling. And it doesn't have to get straight, just any amount you can. Try to extend through the back of the leg. You can circle your foot a little bit or wiggle your toes, just kind of waking up. And then see if you can keep your lifted leg high, lift your bottom leg a couple of inches off the floor. So we're hovering the bottom leg, and then we're going to add the reach of the arms straight up and again overhead. See if you can keep length again through the fingertips and the bottom leg, and a little bit of support from the fronts of the ribs, pressing down toward the backs of the ribs, back of the ribs, pressing into the floor. Last breath here, and then hug both knees into your chest. Keep holding on to the left shin, stretch the right leg long on the mat. And then we'll interlace fingers behind the lifted thigh and extend the heel. Maybe you do some circles or toe wiggling. It's so nice not to have to wear shoes when staying at home, I think. So see if you can enjoy that freedom in your feet. And then we'll add the bottom leg hovering over the floor. Add the reach of the arms up and overhead. And then continue to press the backs of your ribs into the floor. Belly softening back toward the floor. Long from fingertips to bottom heel. And then we'll hug both knees into the chest. We're going to take an easy twist. Take your arms out to the sides like a T and drop your knees over to the left. And you might roll your head a little bit along the floor, just feeling ease in the chest, the upper back, neck. And then let's bring the legs through center and over to the right. Again, maybe rolling the head a little bit. And this time we're going to roll all the way to the right side and use your left hand pressing into the floor to roll on up to sitting. And then we're going to come right away onto our hands and knees, setting up for cat and cow breaths. So when you're ready, inhale, we'll take the chest forward and tail back. And exhale, press around. A few more like that. Inhale, finding length through the front body. And the exhales long through the back of the body. One more cycle. And then we're going to come to a neutral spine like the tabletop. Extend your left leg back, ball of the foot on the floor, reach through the back heel, and then we'll lift the back leg. So see if, again, rather than having so much arch in your back, we're going to lower the leg enough so that you can feel your low belly lift up. Feel the front body moving up toward the back body for support. Add the reach of your right arm if you can. And then we're going to take the cat shape here. Inhale, getting long. Exhale, we'll curl knee and elbow together. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, getting long. Exhale, curling and rounding. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to curl. Inhale, extend, and then back to hands and knees. And then right away, right leg stretches back. First, keep the ball of the foot on the floor. You might feel a little calf stretch here. I do. And then lift your leg high enough that it's a challenge for your hamstring, but low enough that you feel like you're supported from the front body lifting up to the back body. Add the reach of the left arm when you're ready. Inhale, we'll stay here to get long, and then exhale, curling around. 2 more. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, lengthening. And exhale, rounding. Long for a last breath here, and then hands and knees. We're going to take the knees wide, big toes together, and sit back into child's pose. You can reach your arms overhead. This is a nice pose if it feels good to you to come to rest anytime during the practice. And see if you can let your hips really settle back toward your heels and start to walk your arms forward. So your arms are helping you elongate your spine. We're going to press the palms into the mat, lift your forearms and upper arms away from the mat, and then see if you can stay pretty low as you tuck your toes underneath you, and then we're going to head to downward facing dog. So for this first downward facing dog, take your feet as wide as the mat, maybe take your hands as wide as the mat. Feel free to bend your knees and lift your heels. We're keeping that long spine that we set up in the child's pose, reaching into the arms. And then we're going to start to use the legs here in the opposite direction. So with a bend in your knees, reach the tops of your thigh bones back and up. And then if you feel ready, maybe you'll start to bring your legs towards straight, heels toward the floor. And then a nice full breath in. Exhale. Walk your hands all the way back toward your feet. We're going to rebend the legs here. Now grab a hold of your elbows and fold forward. So a nice juicy bend in your legs helps your spine to just drop forward, ease through the head and neck. And then let's lower the arms here. With a bend in your legs, we'll roll up to stand. All right, so we'll get started at the front of the mat for a few variations of the sun salutation. And feel free to do any version of this sequence you know. I'm going to go a little slower today in case we have anybody who's newer to yoga. Okay, so standing, let's take the palms to face forward. We'll take a few breaths just standing upright. Remembering the work we did on the floor, feeling the natural curves of your spine and the front body supporting the back body. Let's take a nice full breath, feeling your feet all the way to the top of your head, and exhale. We're gonna add some movement here. Inhale, sweep the arms wide and out to the side. Exhale, we'll fold forward. Feel free to bend your knees. Inhale, coming up halfway. You can bring your hands to the sides of your shins, or if you have blocks, leave them there. Exhale, fold again. Pressing into the feet, let's rise with a long spine. And then bring the hands down the midline. Let's take 2 more like that. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, chest forward. Folding again, exhale. Pressing the feet to rise. Inhale, all the way up. Hands down the midline. Once more, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. And folding again. Rising, inhale, sweep the arms. And we'll take hands to the heart. Continuing, adding on, inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway. Keep your chest forward as you bend your legs, fingertips to the floor, left leg steps back for a high lunge. So high lunge meaning the leg is straight and off the floor. Front leg is bending toward a right angle. We'll take 1 more breath here. Plant your hands flat and step to downward facing dog. Take a nice big breath in your downward facing dog. And then let's float the left leg back and up. Use your belly to bring your knee toward your chest. We'll shift forward and step between your hands. And you might need to use your hand to get your leg forward. We'll take a few breaths in this lunge, second side. Back leg pressing up as the front leg bends down. 1 more breath here. And then we'll take a step forward to fold. Inhale, we'll come up halfway. And exhale, fold. Rising with the arms sweeping out the side. Bring the hands down to the heart. Inhaling again. Exhale, we'll fold again. Halfway to inhale. This time let's step the right foot back. We're in the same high lunge, but this time we're going to add a twist. So you can stay on your fingertips, hand to block or to floor. We'll open toward the bent leg. And just stay here for a moment. Feeling the bottom arm pressing down to find a big reach up through the lifted fingertips. Turning the belly, the ribs, the chest. And then we'll place the hands down. Step to downward facing dog. Nice big breath. And then when you're ready, right leg floats up. Exhale, knee to chest. We'll step between the hands. And then find the right placement for your bottom hand as you turn toward the front leg. Strong press into the floor, big reach up to the top arm, and a long line from head to back heel as you turn. And then we'll take 2 hands to the floor, inhale, exhale, step forward and fold. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale, fold and rise. Inhale, sweeping the arms. We'll take hands to the heart. Just take a moment standing and breathing. I'm going to see, I was going to try to mute participants. Sorry, I didn't do that before. If you know your microphone is on, maybe set that to mute. Okay, when you're back, let's continue adding on here. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway. This time, let's bend the legs, step into plank pose. So like the top of a push-up. We're gonna pause here for a few breaths. You can always modify by lowering your knees to the floor if you like. Otherwise, see if you can keep your front body, again, moving up toward the back of your body, and then a long line from the top of your head to your heels. We'll take one more breath here and head back to downward facing dog. We're gonna float back into the plank pose, inhale, and head back to downward facing dog, exhale. Inhale, back to plank. Exhale to dog. Inhale into the plank pose, and this time we're going to lower all the way to the floor. Again, you can bend your knees first or shift forward, keep your legs straight, and lower to the floor. Ground the tops of the feet, inhale, baby cobra, sliding your chest forward into a little back bend. And exhale, we'll lengthen to lower down. Two more like that, inhale, nice and long. Exhale, we'll lower down. And last one, inhale. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes underneath you, take a big breath in, and exhale, either press to plank or press to hands and knees, and straighten your legs to plank. We'll take downward facing dog. Let's take a nice big breath here, and a long exhale. One more full breath here. Exhale, bend your legs deeply, gaze forward, take some steps, or if you're ready, you can hop both feet forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise, inhale, reach, and hands to the heart. We're gonna take one more, sun salutation A, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway up, and either step to plank or move right through your vinyasa, chaturanga. You can lower to the floor as we just did, or hover over the floor, coming into upward dog. And then through plank, downward facing dog. We're gonna steady both hands, pressing into the floor, and flip the right leg back and up. Use your belly to step between your hands. We're back in the high lunge. Let's come up onto the fingertips and see if you can float your fingertips, bring your hands to your hips. Bend your back knee a little bit here. We'll rise for our crescent lunge. And for today, we're gonna try to have a nice, well, every day we'd like to have a big bend in the front leg. If you need more space, you can heel toe your right foot over to the right. Let's reach the arms back, interlace your fingers, or you could grab a towel if they don't reach. We're gonna move your shoulders onto the back, pull the arms down, and lift the chest just a little bit. So a little bit of an upper chest opening. And then we'll couple that with the abdominal work we did on the floor. See if you can draw the front of your ribs down as you continue to open your shoulders broadly. We'll take one more breath here. See if you can stay low in the front leg. And then add the reach of your arms high. Maybe start to bring your back leg a little straighter. And we'll take the hands to the floor. Step to plank pose. You can go to downward dog. You can take a child's pose or move through a vinyasa sequence like we just did. When you're ready, take a big breath in the downward dog. Pressing into both hands, float the left leg back and up. Exhale, step between your hands. We'll bring the fingertips to the floor, hovering, hands to hips, and then bend your back knee to come on up. Adjust your feet if you need to. Try to come into the nice bend of your front leg. Again, we'll bring the fingers back, interlacing, maybe do the other pinky on top. And then we'll move the shoulders wide, Draw the arms down and float the chest as you keep the front ribs hugging toward the back ribs. The back of the ribs, they're the same ribs. All right, so low in the front leg, broad through the front of the chest, and then supportive in the front of the ribs. We'll release the arms, sweep them all the way overhead, maybe start to straighten your back leg a little. And then take the hands to the floor. Again, step to plank, your choice, however you want to get to downward facing dog. And we'll meet up in the downward facing dog. Full breath here. Long exhale. On your next inhale, let's float the right leg back and up. And exhale, step between your hands. We'll bring the hands to the hips again, rising for the crescent pose. And then this time, we're gonna bring the back leg into warrior two. So you're gonna straighten the back leg, send the heel back, and place it on the ground. So if you're newer to yoga in warrior two, we have the front leg, knee pointing over the toes. Outer thigh is rolling down toward the outer edge of your mat. Back leg softening down toward the floor so that you're feeling a little something in your front leg, but your back leg is really there for support, not trying to open that at the same time. All right, when you have a nice big bend in your front leg, strong press through the back leg, we'll reach the arms out to the sides. And for now, we're gonna move in and out of the pose a few times. So let's roll the arms to face up. And then inhale, bring your front leg to straight. And exhale, we'll rebend the leg. We're gonna do 3 more like that. Inhale. And exhale, pressing. Inhale, reaching up. And pressing down. Last time, inhale here. And then really go for this one. We won't be here too long. Big bend in the front leg, strong through the back leg. We'll rotate the front arm and take a little side body stretch. Let's bring the arms up and over. Step to plank pose, and your choice. Downward dog is a great way to go. You can take your vinyasa here. Skip it anytime you like. We'll meet up in the downward facing dog. Right away, let's float the left leg back and up. Exhale, step between your hands. Hands to hips, and we'll rise for the crescent pose. So right now, our legs are parallel, thigh bones are neutral, hip points are facing the front of the mat. As we extend through the back leg, the pelvis is going to turn a little bit to allow the front knee to track over your first 2 toes. Your back leg is going to roll down a little bit to the floor to allow space in your lower back for your second warrior. Feeling both heels pressing down, let's reach wide through the arms. And then we'll rotate the arms to face up. Moving with the breath now, inhale, stretch the front leg. And exhale, lower down. Again, inhale. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, lower. Last one, inhale. And exhale, lower. So big, juicy bend in the front leg. Firm press of the back leg. We'll rotate the front arm up and take a side body stretch. Moving on the breath, up and over. Step to plank pose. Your choice, downward dog or vinyasa. We'll meet up in the downward facing dog. Taking several breaths here. Just check in for a moment how you're feeling now. Anything in your body that's calling your attention, any lingering thoughts, just notice, acknowledge them, and then come back to your breath. On your next exhale, start to bend your legs deeply, gaze forward. You can take some steps or hop. Inhale, we'll come up halfway. Exhale, fold deeply over your legs, and then we'll start to shift as if you were sitting back into a chair. Shift your weight into your heels, move your thigh bones back and down, and then we'll reach the arms forward. And see if you can keep the same work like we did on the floor. Front of the ribs are supporting you here as you reach the arms over your head. And I'm going to turn to the side for a minute so you can see. If you take your arms so far that you turn into a back bend, it's kind of a different idea. So rather, we're going to reach the arms forward so you can see them a little bit. Try to move the front ribs toward the backs of your ribs. And then any amount you can continue to move the arms back. You'll feel it in your shoulders rather than your ribs, which is what we want. All right, last breath here. Can you sit 1 inch lower? Drive your heels down. Inhale, rise, and we'll bring the hands together. Okay, so we're going to take another pose from that seat we just did. Let's take the feet hips distance apart here and then sit back down. We're going to add the arms, palms face up this time, and you can either choose to hug like we did earlier or cross above your elbows and then bring your palms together. You can stay on 2 legs or shift over onto, let's say, your right leg, and you can cross the thighs or cross the thighs and the ankle. We're going to sit nice and low, just like you were before, shifting your weight back and down. And this time we have a little bit of upper back stretch. If you want to take the elbows forward a little bit, puff up the space between your shoulder blades with your breath. And see if you can do all this being really easy with your head and neck. See if you can sit 1 inch lower. And then to come out, we'll extend the leg, unwind the arms, and lower your leg to the floor. Take a big inhale, long, exhale, lowering. Again, you can take your feet hips distance apart and either stay there as you wind your arms, either in this eagle shape or the hugging shape. Some of you might want to shift onto the left leg now, crossing once or maybe twice. And there's so much going on in this pose. If you just want to do the arms, that's great. You could even do it with straight legs if you're feeling really fatigued. Play a little bit as you send the elbow tips forward. Can you also puff the upper back backwards so you have this big volume of space front to back here? And see if you can do all of that and still be broad across the front of your chest, easy in your head and neck. Low into your standing leg. And then we'll unwind, reach the leg forward. And we'll lower down. Let's bring the hands back to the midline and return to face the front of your mat. Full breath, feeling your feet, feeling the length of your whole body. Exhale. And we'll come back into a flow now, bending your legs, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. We're going to meet in downward facing dog. You can set to plank, take a vinyasa, or just go any way you can to the dog pose. We're going to step the right foot forward right away, and then this time, seal your back heel down so the heel is on the ground, left toes point toward the diagonal left, and then we're going to again take the hands to the hips. Just notice with your hands on your hips and legs, most of us, the front thigh is scooting forward a little bit. See if you can draw it back to the back of your mat. We're going to stay low in the torso. See if you can reach your arms overhead. And as you bend into your front leg, and press the back heel firmly into the ground. Can you lift your belly just an inch or so off your front thigh? Keep driving your back heel down. We're gonna rise into first warrior. And if you come all the way up and you feel congested in your lower back, bring your torso more on a diagonal. And if that's still not working for you, you can return to the crescent pose, which we did earlier. In crescent pose, you can bend your knee. In warrior one, we keep the back leg straight. All right, firm back leg. Start to lift the front of the pelvis up as you send the front thigh down. One more full inhale, and we're gonna return slowly like you came up. Reach your torso forward. This time we'll take hands to the floor, roll onto the ball of the back foot, and we're gonna take another twist here. So fingertips or whole hand to the floor, inhale. Exhale, turn to the bent leg. And you can stay here, or some of you can roll onto the outer edge of your back foot, heel toe the front foot to the side a little bit for a modified side plank. Some of you might come into a full side plank here. Pressing down through your bottom arm, lifting up through the top fingertips. Can you hug the front and back faces of your body together? One more breath here. And let's come back to plank pose and either downward facing dog or vinyasa. Full breath between sides. And when you're ready, step your left foot forward. We'll seal the back heel down. Bring your hands to your hips. We're staying low in the torso, just getting the feet set up first. You can see your knee bending right on top. The legs working as the back heel presses down, front thigh draws back. And then we'll add the reach of the arms forward, trying to create a little space between your front thigh and your belly lifting up. Let's keep the back heel reaching down as you come up for first warrior. Again, you have options here. You can lean forward, you can return to crescent pose. Find the version that works for you to bend generously in your front leg. Stand firmly into your back leg and have a big reach from your back heel all the way up through your fingertips. We stay here for a little while. See if your shoulders and neck and face can relax, even as the rest of your body is working in the pose. All right, to come on out, we're gonna reach the arms forward, fingertips to the floor, spin onto the ball of your back foot, and we'll take another twist. From here, you can turn your front leg out a little bit, spin onto the outer edge of your back foot, and either stay here or come into your side plank. Either way, press down through your bottom arm, lift up through your hips, as well as your lifted fingers, and then for most of us, hugging the front of the ribs back, moving the pelvis forward will bring us into alignment. And let's come back to the plank pose. Take a vinyasa or downward facing dog. And let's take a nice full breath here. And a big exhale. Let's float forward into plank pose, and as slowly as you can, we're going to lower all the way to the floor. So we're going to reach the legs back. We'll start with the fingers interlaced as we did with the crescent pose. First, finding length from the big toes reaching back, the tailbone sliding back to the feet, and then start to pull your arms back to lengthen your chest forward. And then add the lift of your straight legs. So just as we did when we were standing, see if as you broaden the front of the chest, you can find a little bit the lower belly still lifting, the front ribs softening down, and it's really the upper chest that's opening. wildly in this pose. Last full breath. Let's exhale, come on down. You can turn one cheek to the floor or make a little pillow with your hands. And then we're gonna repeat that pose. You can interlace the other pinky on top. Again, length first. Add the reach of the arms and the straight leg. Chest floating off the floor. Legs floating off the floor. Pulling with your arms. But also finding length as much as any sort of back bend feeling. For me, I think of my tailbone reaching toward my heels. And I think a little bit about the low belly lifting just a little here. And then we'll lower down. You can turn the other cheek to the floor. We're gonna do one more back bend on our bellies. So you can repeat what we just did, or you can reach your arms forward. And we'll do kind of a superhero pose next. Again, finding length first. Pinky slide forward, big toes slide back. See if you can lift everything off the floor. The wider your arms and legs are, the less intense it'll be, so you can feel free to do that. And just as we did from the very first pose, try to lift your arms up to feel some stretch in your shoulders, but the front body is still working hard. Front ribs drawing down, lower belly lifting up. Last breath here. And then we'll lower down. Rest. You can wiggle your hips out side to side, or sometimes it's fun to bend your knees and take your shins side to side, like windshield wipers. All right, so we're gonna extend the legs again and come up onto your forearms. Press your forearms down. We're gonna tuck the toes and then lift the legs off the floor. Come into a forearm plank pose. So just like we've been doing with straight arms, we're now stacking shoulders over our elbows and finding a long line like the plank shape. And then same kind of work we've been doing. See if you can get wide across the front of the chest. Imagine that your shoulders were even broader than they are. And also take a big breath, feeling the back surface of your body with your breath. Lifting up away from the floor. One more full inhale. And then we're gonna walk the feet forward. Feel free to bend your knees or lift your heels. This is dolphin pose. It's like downward dog on your forearms. One more full breath here. See how long you can get in your spine. And then we'll lower the knees to the floor and come to sitting. All right, so here's where you're gonna want your towels. Take your bigger towel, fold it up enough that you have something high to sit on. Sit on the edge of the towel. Okay, so we're gonna come into a cross-legged position, crossing your shins, flexing your feet, and see if you can sit up really tall. The towels will help you find more height in your spine. We're gonna reach the arms up, inhale. And as you exhale, let's twist over to the right, feeling the belly and ribs and chest revolve toward your right knee. And then we'll take one hand, left hand toward the right knee, right fingertips to the floor. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, we'll turn toward the right. You might close your eyes here. We're not trying to really get anywhere in the twist, just simply observing the inhale shape, length through your spine. And as you exhale, maybe find a little deeper rotation. Maybe you simply sit where you are. Let's take one more full breath here. Stay in the twist. Slowly turn your head toward your left shoulder. And then we'll unwind to center. We're going to extend the legs forward and then cross the other shin in front. Again, inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, twist to the right, left. And then find your hands just gently on one leg and fingertips to the floor. Inhale, sitting tall. Exhale, twisting to the left. You might notice one side is a little easier than the other. Maybe one part of your spine has an easier time than others twisting. Just use your breath to be present, to notice whatever is true for you today. Again, we don't have to get anywhere in the twist. It's just an activity to continually find length and space on the inhales and a little deeper twist or a softening on the exhale. One more breath here. Staying in the twist, turn your head to your front shoulder, and then we'll slowly unwind. All right, we're gonna come off the blanket onto your back, so you can move the big blanket towel off to the side, have your smaller towel nearby. We're gonna take a slow descent to the floor, belly to spine, all the way to the floor. Okay, hug your knees into your chest here, and then we'll hold on to the right shin and stretch the left leg long on the mat as you did earlier. This time, grab your towel and use your towel around the ball of your foot so that you can extend your leg and extend your arms and drop your shoulders into the floor. If the towel is too small, you could actually use your bigger towel so that you don't have to work so hard. The leg that's lifted, maybe you're getting a little stretch here, but the rest of you, the face, chest, shoulders, everything else, just kind of releasing into the floor. Let's take another few full breaths. And then when you're ready, you can bend your lifted leg, hug your left leg in, and then extend your right leg on the mat. You can grab the towel again with the foot, extend the lifted leg heel. Again, we're gonna set this up so that you have to do as little work possible to keep in the pose as you can. So let your arms hang down toward the floor. And with that, can you let any sense of holding or tension in your face, your head, your neck, shoulders, soften just a little on your next exhale. And then maybe a little more on your next exhale. Just layers and layers of letting go. One more breath here. And then we'll release the lifted leg. Let's place both feet on the floor, knees bent. Cross your right ankle over the left. And then we'll reach through the space between your legs, and you can hug the back of your thigh or the front of your shin, threading the needle. And as you use your arms to hug the leg in, see how little you can work in your shoulders and neck And if some of you don't feel much of a stretch in your right leg, you can use your right elbow to kind of press the right thigh away from you as you hug the legs in. We'll take one last full breath on this side. And then return the left foot to the floor and the right foot to the floor. And we'll take the left side, ankle across, grabbing back of leg or front of shin. So first, checking in with your breath, scanning your body for anything that's holding, and inviting just one thing to soften. Maybe it's your face. And then if you're not feeling enough of a stretch or you feel like you could use more, you can add the press of the left elbow into the left thigh as you gently hug the legs in. And then one more breath here. We'll lower the right leg and the left leg to the floor. We're going to take a last twist before Shavasana, so hug your knees in. And just as we begin, arms out to the side, knees drop to the left. Maybe a little roll of the head. Just noticing if anything feels maybe a little easier now. We'll bring the legs through center and over to the right. And again, maybe a little roll of the head. And then this time we'll come back to center. You can give the knees a little squeeze and we'll set up for our final resting pose. So one at a time, you can extend your legs forward. Snuggle your shoulder blades in toward your spine. Maybe open the palms to the ceiling. We'll take a full breath here. Exhaling completely. You can close your eyes and simply rest. And letting everything soften into the floor. Simply rest. Let's stay soft in the body. Start to take a little fuller breath in. Maybe bringing some small movements into your fingers and toes. If you like, maybe stretching your arms up and overhead, reaching through your heels. And then one at a time, let's bend the legs, roll over to your right side, and we'll pause. And then feel free to leave your eyes closed. We'll press a hand into the floor, roll up to sitting, and we'll just come together to close the practice. So sitting tall, again, feel free to leave your eyes closed or they can be open. We'll bring the hands together, the heart. Just take a moment noticing how you feel now. And then we'll close with a final breath. So we'll begin by exhaling together when you're ready. Draw the breath in. Thank you all for practice today. Thanks for joining. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop. Oops.